You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phone. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.CFRN.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.CFRN.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 22nd day of January, 2020. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. If you cannot see the screen I have up, go to our homepage at CFRN.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions. You'll be registered in about 30 seconds, and that will give you one-click access to the show each and every day. Now, on the days you're out of the office, away from the desktop, point any internet-connected browser to CFRN.net/live. There you'll find a live, real-time simulcast of the show as it unfolds, brought to you by the good folks at CFRN. You'll also find us streaming live during the show on YouTube, on Facebook, and yes, even on Twitter. So, glad to have you. Let's get going. bring up a chart real quick like, and let us turn this into a crude chart. Now, what did we just roll to? We just rolled a H. Is that correct? Thinking it must be. Here, let me check. Oh. I'll check it another way. GCLH20. Yes, okay, just want to make sure we were correct there. All right. So we're going to put this on a weekly. And right here. Now, for those of you that don't speak candles, you should learn. Candlestick signals are not the latest thing to, come down the pike. They've been around for hundreds of years. Originally, this system, this idea, was put together by Japanese rice traders about 400 years ago. Okay, what is a candlestick? It is a graphic representation of investor sentiment for whatever time period is being observed. Now, this applies to traders' intraday charts as well as daily, weekly, monthly. You get the idea. Now, one of the most bearish candlestick signals that you'll see is called the bearish engulfing candlestick. One of the most powerful bullish candlestick signals that you'll see, well, you guessed it, it's called the bullish engulfing candle. Now, if you speak no candle speak, and if you would have an interest in learning a little more about what we call the secret life of candles, after the show, point your browser to CFRN, the secret life of candles. And first entry you see should be right here, the secret life of candles. This is a slideshow presentation I put together back in 2010. Now, there are a couple of hundred candlestick signals or patterns. Many of them you might see 2 or 3 times in a lifetime. They're that esoteric. There are more common ones that you'll see practically every day, certainly a couple times a week. Bullish and bearish engulfing, depending upon the time frame, you won't see that many of them on your larger time frames, like weeklies and monthlies. Now, let me see if I can scoot up just real quick. It's the star, the long-legged. Bullish. Well, here's bearish. The information conveyed in this signal creates an extremely high probability that the buying is over. It also reveals an opportunity for establishing a good short position. Okay, you're only seeing 3 candles here, but context is very important in candle speak. And so the upward trend that led into this, the longer that trend, the better. The higher the time frame. Now, you see, without the benefit of prices anywhere here, we don't know if we're looking at a 1-minute chart, hourly chart, daily chart, weekly chart. And for the purpose of this little lesson, it doesn't matter. Okay? It's the pattern that's important. But I assure you, the larger the time frame, the more impactful the signal. Okay. So we're climbing. buying, buying, buying. And then right here, you see the difference here? That's a gap higher open. Now, if this were a weekly chart, this would be how it looked on Friday. Then all of a sudden, Sunday night Globex open, after closing here on a Friday, we leap way up here. Now that really sets the bulls on fire, because remember, we've been climbing, 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 and then Sunday night, bang, we get this gap higher open, which leads everyone to believe this bull is going to continue. In fact, to draw just a few more traders in on the long side before the bottom falls out, not only do we gap higher on the open, we actually, this was a green candle at one point. Now this is using black and white versus the traditional red and green, but just hang in there with me. See this as a red candle and see these as green, if that helps you. Okay, once this thing gapped higher on the open, we actually started building a green candle. At some point during the life of this candle, price reversed, pulled back to where it opened, which erases the green and leaves a wick in its wake, and then that baby turns red or black. And it keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. Now, if this candle had closed even just right here, do you see how this candle would have completely enveloped the previous, as an example, we're using this weekly candle? But wait, there's more. It not only engulfed the previous week, it engulfed the week before that. And if we were using more than 3 candles to display the pattern, who knows how many might be engulfed here. All right, so now we're going to go back to a live chart. Now, just real quick though, it's the exact opposite, bullish engulfing. You're selling, 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 okay? You close here on a Friday, if these are weekly candles. You gap lower on the open Sunday night. You start printing another red candle or black candle until you're not. It reverses. Okay, the red candle's gone. We've only got a wick. It turns green, and it engulfs the entire previous week, day, hour, whatever time frame you're looking at. So let's go back over here. We were in a pretty steady climb from October the 4th. Now, yes, there are some red candles in here, but in an uptrend, there will be red candles. In a downtrend, there will be green candles. We can all agree that this is an uptrend here. I'm pretty sure. If not, see me after class. That's an uptrend, right? But we have red candles. That's the way it works. Then we go into a downtrend, but we have green candles. Back into an uptrend, red candles. Back into a downtrend. And maybe you got me on this one. Yeah, there's a little speck of green, but you get the idea. So now we're back into this powerful uptrend. Okay. Got some red candles, some green candles, but between October 4th and January 30th, what's that? November, December. You can do the math. Now this weekly candle, this bearish engulfing candle, not only engulfed the previous week, now it's engulfed 2 weeks, now it's engulfed 3 weeks. Spotting this as it happened in real time. Now I'm showing it to you after the fact. Anybody can look like a genius with a historic chart. But anyone watching crude, anyone who studies crude in the larger time frames, looking for these changes of trend, changes of direction, any technical analyst worth his salt should have spotted this, should have seen it. Did I hawk it? Have I been talking about it for the last couple of weeks? No, I haven't. Because when we look at crude on this show, typically the largest we ever go is sometimes the daily chart. Primarily we focus on the 30-minute, and when we're looking at monthly zones, we look at the 4-hour. So I said all that to say this. They're talking about, let me get to the news article and just tell you what they're saying. Pretty sure I got it right here. If not, I'll make it up here. Crude down. That should give me what I want. Here we go. Hey, here's the story behind the drop in crude. Which came first, the virus or the bearish engulfing candle? That's a great question. The outbreak of a coronavirus in China that is now an international threat could cut oil demand by 260,000 barrels per day, which could translate into a price drop of almost $3 per barrel. Most of the demand loss will come from, if I could just stop all these pop-ups. Most of the demand loss will come from jet fuel, as the risk of disease discourages travelers from getting on a plane, according to the investment bank, whose analysts qualified the outbreak's effect on oil prices as modest. Coronaviruses are common among animals, but some of them can jump species, which is what happened with the SARS virus. I'm sure many of you remember that. To which the new one is related. Once it does jump species, the virus can be passed from human to human. Since the outbreak, hundreds have been infected, and health authorities around the world are on red alert for more outbreaks. The effect of the disease on oil prices is likely to be limited regionally if the SARS epidemic is any indication. At the time, Bloomberg recalls Asian airlines registered an 8% decline in annual traffic. All right, this article came out today, January 22nd. Okay. This candle can I get a cursor? Markets must be moving because I can't. There we go. Okay. This candle from week of January 3rd. This candle, week of January 10th. This candle, week of the 17th. And this candle, week of the 24th, which will be Friday. Okay. That's when this candle will close. This will officially become. So, did the chart, in fact, tell us a couple weeks ahead of time that there was going to be a coronavirus outbreak? No, it did not. But this is something that I try to teach all of our traders. So if you could use it, great. Hang on to it. Jot it down. When you hear something big on the news like this coronavirus, and we pray that it doesn't become any worse than it already is, most people will run and look at their chart. Okay? I preach a different message. I say, when you see this, especially on a time frame this large, go watch your TV. See what I did there? Most people watch the TV, see the news, go look at the chart. Often it's too late to do anything. That's okay. That's not my point. It's when you see this that you should go watch the news and find out what's going on in the world that we don't yet know about. Am I saying that a chart can predict the future? No. You've heard me say many times, not man, machine, not algorithm, not nothing, not no way, not no how, can predict the future with certainty. However, over the years, I have seen the chart show us something first that we perhaps don't understand. I mean, okay, we saw a huge bearish engulfing weekly candle on crude. Did that immediately lead us to jump to a thing called the coronavirus? No. What it should teach you, and now this applies to any time frame, but again, the larger the time frame, the more important the message. This should have had everyone on red alert as to why. Why is this happening? It's a harbinger. If you don't know what that is, Google it and then text me the answer. Okay? All right, let me give you the numbers real quick from around the world. The guys in Telegram are talking about this, so I said I would hit it first when we hit the airwaves today, so I just did. And let me give you the numbers from around the world so Michael can give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. All right, let's start here in the U.S. These are cash markets. The Dow currently down 16 points. NASDAQ up 35. S&P 500 up 4.5. Russell 2000 up 2.5. In the commodity basket, crude oil down $1.69. Trading 56.69 last. That's a drop of almost 3%. Now we'll talk about how far this could go and why later in the show. Gold down 90 cents, trading 15.57 last. The Asian markets at the close, Nikkei posted a gain of 166 points. Shanghai gained 8.5. The Hang Seng gained 355. That's a gain of 1.25%. And in the European markets at the close, the FTSE dropped 38 points. The DAX dropped 40. The CAC down 35. That gives us a green day in Asia, a red day in the UK. So far, it's a mixed Radio Wednesday here in the US of A, with the Dow being in negative territory. When I come back, we'll dive into the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. We'll talk to John if he's feeling better today. Hopefully he is. But for now, let's go to Michael and get a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning.
Okay. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
Good. Good. We need you. Part of the team.
Amen, bro. Thanks.
Amen. All right. So, Jake says the crude story into perspective. Yeah. Well, it is interesting how they relate to things that you would never think about, like, airline fuel and things like that. People not traveling. And Macy right now is scheduled to go on a cruise.
Oh, really?
In her spring break, yeah. And I was gonna fly Jake back up north, but I'm probably not gonna now. I'll just hold back on that. Macy, she's 15.
She's going on spring break?
Well, she's going with her friend Sophie, her older friend's sister Allie, who's 18, their mom, and
okay, so there will be adult supervision.
Oh yeah,
okay.
There's gonna be.
I just don't want her to end up in one of those Girls Gone Wild videos.
No, this is gonna be all girls, but there's gonna be 3 of them are gonna be moms.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha. I feel better already.
Yeah, yeah. No, are you kidding? Macy would never do that. Never, ever, ever.
Good.
She would never put herself in danger. I'm
That's
kidding.
awesome.
She's worried when she stays home alone that she's going to be stolen.
Well, at least she has positive self-esteem.
Yeah.
That someone
She
would want to
does.
steal her, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's good and bad. If Jake's home with her, then all's good. But if she's home alone, then we have to leave the dog because
She know how to does she know how to shoot a firearm?
She does, but she doesn't know where the firearms are right now.
I see.
Because one's in our bedroom, one's in my truck, one's in a closet, one's in another closet. So,
Well, I'll be honest.
she
My
does
kids,
know how to do it.
my kids right now. I mean, they've both shot a gun, but I would not want them to be in a position where they had to defend themselves with their knowledge of using a gun.
No, I wouldn't want that either. Jake, he loves my 9mm. He just loves that weapon, and he's good with it. He is. From 20, 30 yards, he's good with it.
Right.
And
so from the time I was about 8 years old, I had a single barrel 410 shotgun.
I had one of those too.
Which is, it's just a pretty simple gun. You breech it, you put a shell in, you close it, you pull the trigger. There's no fancy, you got one shot. So, but that's the beauty of a shotgun. It should only take one shot if you're
if you're shooting with a shotgun.
If you're fairly close. So.
No, I had I don't remember how many shots are in it. I think it was a 7-shot clip.
Oh, was it? Yeah, mine was just a single barrel, single load.
But mine was like my great uncle's. I don't know where they are now.
Mine had some history behind it too. I can't remember exactly how I came to have it at 8 years old, but I did.
I had this one double barrel 12-gauge shotgun that was side by side with 2 triggers. And it was a bird gun that my Uncle Richmond had made. And, it had this extra long barrel. So it was really accurate. When, I used to use it to shoot skeet. And
I've never done that.
Really accurate. It was like cheating.
Never shot skeet.
But, yeah, it was, but it, you could put a hole in a, in a 2x4, we'll say. You could put a hole in the 2x4 from, 10 feet away.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call the 410 a deadly weapon. Up close, shot in the right spot, it could be. But I also, while I don't call it a deadly weapon, most people aren't going to just walk away from it.
No, they're gonna be knocked down anyway. Dude, skeets taste good. You don't eat skeets.
All right, buddy, I'll let you run with this.
All right.
And I'll be here.
All right.
I'm going to run get coffee, but I should be back before you're done.
Okay. All right. Sounds good to me. Here we go. Good. Oh, gosh. Hang on. I mixed everything up here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd day of January, 2020. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to take a free trial with us, go to the homepage here at CFRN.net, and right here in the right-hand column, it says apply.cfrn.net. If you click on that, it will bring you to this page where all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number, and you can tell us what your biggest trading challenge is so we can tailor the one-on-one training specifically for you if you desire the one-on-one training. But it's out there for you. All of you guys, even if you're not partners, like Mark, you need to become a partner. But even if you're not partners, I'm sorry, that was just the name that showed up on my list. But even if you're not partners, we will tailor it specifically for you. And we have, actually, with you, Mark. And if you want to become a partner, then all you have to do is hit the send button. You'll be sent a confirmation link. Then you go through the week of free trial. And then I will send you all the information you need to become a partner. Okay. And, you know, and you can become a partner in two different ways. You can become a 90-day mentoring partner, where after 90 days, you know, it's $75 a month to continue the mentoring, or you can become a passport partner. And if you become a passport partner, then there's no further on fees, but it's a little more upfront. But then you still have the PayPal option of spreading it out over 6 months. And that's, you know, it's totally up to you. But that's what it takes. Okay. Now let's go to the spreadsheet, which I do not happen to have open. Hang on. We can go here and here and here and here, and then let it load, and then go down to the bottom. Hold on a second, guys. I'm doing all this in the background so you don't have to watch me. Okay, here we go. All right, this is today's spreadsheet. So as I said, today, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 22nd day, January 2020. Now we made 6 ticks in the euros, 17 ticks in crude. We lost 8 in gold. We made 1 on the ES. Put us at plus 140 on the morning session. Today it took 95 minutes and 10 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up 140. So on the month now, we're at 1,465. That's over 12 days, averaging 122 per day. So what I want to do, what I try to do every day, is exceed the daily average. All right, that's what I try to do every day, exceed the daily average. I don't want to bring that number down. I want the number to keep going up. And on the year, well, it's the same thing because we're in January. Okay. Okay. We minimize that and we'll go through what we didn't do here in gold. We didn't miss much in gold. We missed a couple. This one right here and this one right here. We just didn't get filled. All right. Now we started out the day with a stop out on gold right there. And then eventually it went and did what it should have done and put it in a higher swing. But we couldn't be any part of that. All right. And then we had a break even over here. So we ended up with 2 trades on gold and we're minus 8 ticks. Now during the break, it didn't give us a darn thing, really. Nothing during the break in gold. Now, the euro, we had just this one opportunity right here. We took 6 ticks out of. See, this was going into the low of the day. That's why we didn't do anything there. And then it totally reversed off the low of the day. And during the break, it didn't give any opportunity at all. Okay. And on the crude. On the crude, we started out right here on crude with the 5 tick. And then we got 3 more right here to put us at plus 8. That put us at that put us at break even on, put us at break even on the morning session. And then it just got really sideways for a little while. And gave us a little bit more opportunity over here. We picked up a couple ticks there, put us at plus 10. Then 7 more ticks there where we got the goal for the day, put us at plus 17. Missed this short right here. And that wasn't a valid short there. And we ended up with a break even there. Now, during the break, it looks like there was a shorting opportunity right here, but I don't know where the low of the day was at the time. So it may not have been. And it could be setting up a little bit of a long opportunity right here. But look at the retracement levels here. Let me put that in there. So where are we right now? 50% retracement. Okay, that's where we were. So it'll probably get back up to there, and that happens to be where dynamic resistance is as well. But you gotta look at the risk reward on that. when you're thinking about entering that trade. Okay. Now let me remove that and bring this back. And on the ES today, we had 3 trades. We had a break even, and a +1. Now this break even I wouldn't have done if I'd have known there was a zone there. But you can see how we went zone to zone and to zone. So it's okay. If you've already tagged him, he's already here. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up what I'm going to do. And I'm going to open up John's mic right now. And John, if you're out there, I'll be with you in just a minute, okay, because I'm just finishing up. All right, so we'll go back here. So on the day, guys, we made 6 ticks on the euro, 17 ticks on crude. We lost 8 ticks on gold and 1 tick on the ES. Made 140 on the morning session. That's 140 per contract. I'm doing just 2 hours. Today it took 95 minutes and 10 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up 140 a contract. So far in the month, we're at 1465. That's over 12 days, averaging 122 per day. Again, it's the same on the year, but that is 1 contract, 2 hours per day. Okay, now, if you have not taken the free trial, you can just go straight here to eminitrainingschool.com. And on eminitrainingschool.com, all we ask for is your name, your email, your phone number. You can tell us the biggest trading challenge, so we can tailor one-on-one training specifically for you. Hit the send button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You got to click on that confirmation link. Then we know you took the trial, and then you get all the information you need to spend 5 luxurious days in our live training room with me. All right. And with that, we'll bring it out to John, because I hear you're out there in the background, John.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Good, good.
Okay. It's another day in the neighborhood of palladium today. Jeepers. This stuff.
Yeah, they taste different.
So we're 2330. We've actually hit 2508. So exceeded our target of 2400. A couple of, like it spiked up to 2508 on some kind of a contract or physical in the last week or so. The last time we were on, so it looks like platinum did come down almost exactly to 1,000, and it was a great buy down there, as we said it might be. And it's 1021 right now. Today, somebody asked me what I thought of gold yesterday, and I said, could be a little bit, weak, but not too weak. The silver and the plat got slammed down a bit yesterday, and the palladium, actually. All 3 of them got hit yesterday. But what I wrote last night before this happened was, I said, I think the palladium platinum are going to go higher, which they have. And I said they might, they could pull gold up with them, and silver as well. And we're actually positive on silver right now. We're just a little bit negative on gold, but it's a kind of a look right now, because of the way platinum and palladium are going, it really is potentially turning the whole metal sector very bullish again. And if we were to to go above, back up to 7, I think we hit 1570 in the last couple of days, since the weekend on the gold, sort of spiked a bit and came down, and we got up over 18 on the silver, and we're now at about 1784. The problem is we kind of got a bit of a sell signal on the metals, and on those 2, and if they were to suddenly jump up and go above these last few days, I think you'd have to turn more bullish, potentially on the gold and silver. Remember I said, look, this is in spite of Ray Dalio, Bridgewater coming out with this 2000 forecast, and new guy's thrown his, Einstein.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that guy's name.
Stephen Einhorn, that's the guy.
Okay.
He's worth about 700 million. He's all in on gold now as well. So you got, half a dozen pretty big billionaires really kind of going all in on gold. And I think these are just the smart money of the billionaires who are, really, really starting to look at hedging a lot of their wealth. And with good reason. I mean, look, I think it's, what's going on right now, as Dwayne and I were talking, there's something not right in the marketplace. There's, the Fed is putting untold, unparalleled amounts of liquidity into the system. It's never happened before. And the immediate beneficiary is the market, which is every single dip is being bought, no matter how bad it is. It just, it came down over just after the weekend, and it was a great buy yesterday morning, or about 4 or 5 in the morning. Was still a pretty good buy around 9 o'clock or so, 8, 9 o'clock. And next thing you know, we're having a pretty strong day, making new highs. And then last night, I think, when they passed this deal in the Senate, basically defeating the Democrats, the market jumped 50, the NASDAQ really went up a lot. And they're still at it right now. Look, this ship is on TV saying, oh, we got to call these witnesses. It's such a joke. It doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Have you touched on crude yet, John?
No, I haven't, but
No,
I saw
not
what
yet.
you were talking
Not yet.
about, and we were talking about it the other day, Dwayne, if you remember. We said there was probably another leg down, and it's kind of happening right now.
I mean,
And
I honestly, I'm a little ashamed of myself that I didn't spot this as it was developing, but I blame it on being sick. I don't know, but I mean, I certainly didn't know, what the fallout was going to be, but the writing was on the wall right there with that candle.
well,
That's 3 weeks ago.
we kind of went up
2 weeks ago.
Well, we went up and tested we got all the way back up to the Saudi attacks. And the interesting thing was, the crude kind of rallied off the Iranian thing and probably stayed up there. But remember, it's kind of sold off pretty sharply right after those missiles hit. So the market figured out that maybe the worst is over. I wouldn't be too bearish on it right now, because it's fallen, pretty good. It's fallen a lot, and there's a
It's down
possibility
3% today.
Right, but I mean, at some point here in the next day or two, it might bounce. It's kind of like Boeing yesterday. You and I did a pretty deft piece of analysis last week on Boeing. We looked at the sell signals we were getting. We looked at this head and shoulders formation, and it really, boy, it kind of forecast ahead of time that even though I was more optimistic that these planes would get back in the air, it's not happening. And actually, that to look a whole, there's a couple of hundred 737s still on the ground. It's also a bit negative for crude, So
If the support off this bearish engulfing weekly candle, if we don't hold this right here at about 56,
probably headed back to 50.
there's a good chance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, remember I don't know whether it's going to go back to 50. It might come back to about 54, somewhere right there, and then it could have another run up. So I would.
Well, 57.20 is our lowest weekly trading zone this week for crude. 57.20.
Okay. So the market itself right now, last Friday Google gapped higher, and it's pushing higher as we speak. Facebook, I mean, look at this Tesla, jeepers, it's kind of pulled back to 500, then took a huge run up again to new highs today. And Apple is just about at an all-time high again too. I think actually Amazon is an interesting play here. It might be the late come from behind. It's been basing out for quite a while, and Jeff Bezos is over in India doing things right now, and the reach of Amazon. I mean, look, it's
what's he doing?
He's putting electric, these putt things they have over there that probably pollute tremendously.
Oh yeah, we used to ride those in the Philippines. They were called what do we call them in the Philippines? In Africa, we call them boda. We call them boda bodas.
Well, they had these jeepneys in the Philippines, which were the jeeps, the converted jeeps.
Yep.
You didn't have donkeys pulling carts?
No, we didn't have that.
I forget what they called the three, the things.
The trikes. There was another. Yeah. There was a Filipino name for the trikes.
But, and there's a Bali name for them. There's a kind of a name all over Asia for these things. But anyway, they're electric and they look pretty cool. Sort of
those are a heavy source of pollution. You're right.
Yeah, a smaller Amazon truck. It's not a big UPS type truck and actually Amazon's trucks are smaller anyway than mostly Mercedes kind of vans. That's a pretty bullish looking chart, this Amazon actually, and this is probably going to put the Dow. Something in the very near future is going to push this Dow north of 30,000. It could, look, I think that probably in the next 2 weeks, if they acquit President Trump, the market could actually take a pretty big swing upwards on that news.
Do you think there's any chance that they won't acquit him?
Listen, you can never say never in life.
No, that's wise. That's wisdom.
Again, you can never say never, but the indexes are made to go up. So, the industries that are going to be in favor of it are going to be the ones that are in the Dow.
Yeah.
And, so
we are in going back to the liquidity. Look, the Fed put probably a total of 150 billion in 1999, and we had a melt up. Look at the semiconductors today. They're on fire. They've doubled in the last, they've tripled almost.
Yeah, but in the 90s though, we were riding the back of something that no one understood. Not only were there, companies valued at billions of dollars that had no revenue, and because they couldn't measure revenue, they came up with this new idea that they were going to measure it in eyeballs.
Yeah, well, we're at the same point again. It's the Ubers and all these and Lyfts that are not making any money, and a lot of other companies that have gone public recently.
Yeah,
so
if there's so much demand for these Ubers, which obviously they are, why can't they get profitable?
Yeah, we're actually at the same point today that we were, in 2000. I think you have to be. Look, we're in a kind of a maniacal market right now. That's not as crazy as 2000 was. Like Yahoo and stuff. But in a way, we had a down close on Apple yesterday, and here we are back up again to a new high. Amazon looks like it's going to break out. The Dow. On that chart, honestly, God, you could see this thing going to 33,000, maybe even to 36,000. It could really happen. Remember, there's almost 10 times the amount of liquidity being put into the market today over the last few months by the Fed compared to 99. 10 times. The market's only 3 times higher than 99. So think about that. The higher push is just off the charts.
So does that tell us there's more to be worried about than we're being made aware of?
Ultimately, yeah, because look, some of the economic stuff is picking up. The housing starts normally you don't see that having such an impact on the market, but the market decided to take that news. Some of the other news wasn't that, that terrific. I mean, listen, Apple's making new highs. The phone sales are down in China. Normally that would knock Apple down, $5 or $10. It didn't even. And then Tesla had a crash over the weekend, and now the stock's up about $70 since the weekend, 70 or $80. It's really incredible. And people are talking about $1,000 Apple, and there's some really crazy numbers coming out. They're talking about $1,000 Tesla as well. Obviously Amazon, I think a long time ago, we said was going to head to about $2,500 a share. So, I think if Amazon becomes the new leader of the market, the late come from behind leader, that could really power this market higher. So the big question is, are we going to see some numbers come out in the next few days and weeks where we kind of have blowout earnings and we have gaps, the fangs are gapping higher? When a year ago or 2 years ago, it was much easier to kind of call the fangs, if you like, because they were going up in unison. And this time they sneak their way higher. We did mention Facebook. It was looking very bullish about $40 ago. When it was about 180, 100, somewhere around there. Thought it would get up to new highs. It has. I did say that it's probably going to, surprise on the upside. Apple, looking at Apple's numbers, they're not as good as Facebook's in terms of actual momentum growth. And Google is doing incredibly well. After a stumble a while back, it's reaccelerating to the upside. So, things are, and remember, the pharmaceutical sector is kicking in. It's the fourth leg of the stool that is helping the market higher today. So, honestly, this is a bull market to end all bull markets. This is really, really something very, very big, very powerful. And you've never had a president go over to Davos. I mean, the first year Trump went, I don't think he did. I don't think he went the first year. The second year, he was kind of a presence that was not particularly, I wouldn't say it obviously caused a big stir. He was the center of attention a year ago, for sure. And he rattled a lot of cages, including NATO and all the other stuff that was going on at the time. This year, he's pretty much, like the Messiah coming in to Davos with a message. We are the world. We're doing better than we've ever done in history, and the market is responding to that. And when you've got
So what do you think? This is just a question because, usually the indexes and the metals go in opposite directions. What do you think about them all going up right now?
I think that is extremely bullish because gold, and look, if we do have a maniacal run here into March, which kind of looks like it's happening, the metals might take a bit of a hit down still. They could come back 1475, possibly. I'd probably about as far as it's going to go, maybe back to 17 on the silver, possibly even 16 and a half at a stretch. But right after that, I expect gold and silver to skyrocket. I really do. I think maybe the commercials are going to knock it down, cover their shorts, and then they're going to go long and they're going to really run this gold up big time, like a $600 run or something, which definitely could happen from the middle of March onwards if the market starts to stumble at that time. So, and there may be a lot of reasons why gold goes up. just not include, because remember, this amount of liquidity going to gold is dwarfing. It's dwarfing what happened in 2009. And what happened from 2009 to 11 is, remember, gold doubled in that time. That's why I'm pretty confident we're going to see a doubling in gold, at a minimum in the next couple of years. And I actually think it'll be, there'll be an initial surge, possibly up to 21, 24, 3,000, 3,400, somewhere in that range. Then it might come back and consolidate. And then I think it'll take a late run, where it could quadruple all the way up to about 8,000, 8,800 from maybe the 2,200 level. So that's kind of the way I see it.
If Trump gets reelected.
Well, no, actually, it's a very up in the air thing, because something, look, obviously, if the Democrats get in, I think you're going to go to 8,000, maybe 10,000. It's just almost inevitable.
Oh, yeah.
But notwithstanding, even if Trump gets reelected.
Now, do you think that will happen because people will take money out of the markets? Or will it be because of or because they do the typical Democratic things that paralyze the economy?
But, it's probably, Steyer said, the Dems win, they're going to destroy the economy in 15 minutes. Listen, if the Dems did win, I honestly think the Dow would plunge to, maybe less than 10,000. It could be catastrophic. And because, look, when you get parabolic, when you go parabolic like this, it always ends badly. Now, my theory is, assuming Trump gets reelected, they've done enough. The stimulus, remember, it's the stimulus, stupid. Eventually it's going to find its way into gold, and you don't have to look past 2011 to understand that. But honestly, look, I think this is very much like the 80s and the 90s. Trump is the Reagan of the 80s in this era. And when we got to 1990, never forget what Robert Farrell and Merrill Lynch said, we're going to have a boring decade of anemic growth. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, I've said it on this show, this is a hard act to follow. This incredible market is a hard act to follow. But actually, when you listen to what Trump is saying about all the things that he's trying to do, there's a lot of stuff in there that is still ongoing that's really, really bullish for the market. I mean, just lowering the corporate tax rate down to 21 is a masterful stroke. Creating, we talked about this long before it happened. What did I say? They're going to create a financial paradise, a fiscal paradise. The United States is almost like a tax haven in this, look at the, we numbered them off. Look, what's the richest country in the world per capita? It's Luxembourg. It's a tax haven. People earn $150,000 per capita. What's number two?
Well, what's the cost of living there, John, compared to Phoenix, Arizona?
Well, you probably pay $10 for a cup of coffee or something. It's probably not cheap.
You can do that here in America at Starbucks.
Well, exactly.
I get your drift.
But I mean, a while back it used to be $10. Before Starbucks, and now it's probably 20. Who knows? But the thing is, and guess who's arguably number two, or is gunning for the number two spot, is Ireland. Why? Because it's got, it's the corporate headquarters of Europe, pretty much. They got all these U.S. companies there, and you've got unbelievably favorable tax incentives.
Where Apple is based?
Yeah. So, and Ireland has clawed its way from being the poorest country in Europe almost to the richest. It's an astonishing story, after Luxembourg. So, and the U.S. is kind of going the same way. It's creating a better place to do manufacturing and do business than.
How much of that, John, can be laid at the door of Apple, and I don't know who else, having all that money holed up in Ireland?
Well, it's another. By the way, another thing that's causing this market to go up, which may have been lost on a few people, is Trump worked out a deal, or he's in the process of working out a deal with Macron right now to kind of minimize this digital tax. So that's bullish for Facebook, Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, that may be the juice that gets Amazon going. So that's a big deal. And then the other thing is, and by the way, this is kind of, Trump's very clever. He's sort of rattling off, okay, we got a deal with China, we got a deal with Mexico, South Korea, Japan. We're negotiating a deal with the UK. We just started negotiating a deal with Europe. I mean, look at the momentum. Look at how much we've gone. We've basically gone from 20,000 to 30,000, in anticipation of the Chinese deal. Okay. And this is a lot like the tax cut. Remember, we went up for a whole year in anticipation of the tax cut. And we went up a little bit more right afterward, which is kind of what's happening now with these are two deals up your belt. You got hundreds of billions of dollars worth of trade that are, basically increasing trade. The peso is right up there. The peso is making new highs. So this is kind of a win-win. The peso is actually the strongest currency in the world right now. So this is, and the pound is getting strong too.
And do you attribute that to this new, what is it called, the USMC?
I absolutely do. I think maybe could be two things. Maybe they thought it was going to be worse, and it's worked out better for them. But I think just the growth. Look, it may be a better deal for the U.S., but it's also potentially it may not be such a good deal for Mexico. But the fact that they got a deal, and the deal itself between the three countries, is kind of got a triple win. It's like a trifecta, that it lifts all boats, and for that reason, the currencies are benefiting.
Here's Daily John on the Mexican peso.
Yeah, it's right up there.
Scrunch it up. Back, let me.
It actually looks like it's going higher.
Let me put it on a continuous chart. There we go. Yeah,
bullish.
There's a high, there's a higher high, another higher high, and I've got this little congestion here. What's the all-time high?
It's got a ways to go to get back to that. But
Okay. All right.
But look at the base on this thing. This thing could really and look, this president in Mexico is doing a lot of things too.
What is he? Tell me a little bit about his idea for fixing Mexico. That's always been the job of every New Mexican president.
Well, he's got
great
a
people,
10-point plan. Which is, they were building this new airport. Unfortunately, that's scrapped. They're going to kind of build another airport now. It's kind of turn a military base into an airport.
What part of Mexico?
Near Mexico cities.
Okay.
And then they've got, they sold the plane. Oh, they tried to sell the plane, which is, honest to God, I haven't checked this out. I think they paid about $400 million for it. It was a Dreamliner, and it's a pretty cool looking plane, but they couldn't sell it, and it's come back to Mexico now, and I think they're going to raffle it off or something. I think it's stupid, because listen, they got the plane. It's got all the livery. I think any president in any country should fly on its own jet. I think flying commercials.
So is this some kind of a stance? Is the president trying to send a message? I don't need my own plane. Is that?
He flies commercial.
Okay, so didn't the Pope do a similar thing?
Yeah, it's kind of started out like that. How long is it going to last? But
Well, they say before he became the Pope, he used to take the bus to work every day.
Yeah. Well, look, he hasn't actually made any overseas trips. This particular president, he sends his foreign minister.
Okay.
But his, listen, he made everybody take a pay cut in the government. I mean, he really went kind of like lean and mean when he won the election. Anti-corruption and all the rest of it. But he does have some pretty big infrastructure projects.
If you need to get that, I'll hold.
Okay, thanks.
Here's the Mexican peso, guys. There's a high, a lower high. Yeah, so this thing definitely has some work to do. I had brought up the gold chart. Last night's Concierge Trade Alert for gold, which if you didn't get a chance to do a screenshot and you want one, there it is again. Okay, on gold, said to consider being a long 1561 or short 1553, whichever opportunity presents itself first. And so we can see that we did not tag 61 in the overnight session. We did, however, trade 1553. Which is right there. Okay. Now, you've heard me say a time or two that important prices and important areas are almost always tested. Okay. So last night's alert said to sell 1553. I want to poll the audience. Now, the alert came out last night at 7:45 p.m. So on here it's going to be 1945. So we use that's the 30-minute candle right there. So it was during the life of this candle that all of our traders were notified. It's right there. Consider being short 1553. Now, my poll, take out one of these fives. Is there anything about this alert that anyone perhaps doesn't understand? I will take this opportunity, this moment in time, to clarify it for you. Because if you're one of our traders, what this represented was an opportunity to be short 53, to be out at the trade to target 1551, which is $200 per contract traded. When price drops to a weekly trading zone, we expect it to be good support until it isn't. This did hold as good support. And now the part about important prices, important areas, almost always tested. You see what price did? Once it confirmed good support at the zone, which is what we anticipate. Now, just because we anticipate something, just because something is what we believe to be the next high probability move based upon what the chart is telling us, doesn't mean that's always what's going to happen. Okay? We don't try to pull the wool over your eyes and tell you we can predict the future with certainty. What we do unabashedly say is that we always know what the next high probability move is, if there is one. You see, there are times when the market is not conducive to trading. Doesn't matter how badly you want to trade right now. I mean, wow, you used the special body wash when you showered this morning, you lit the right incense, you had granola instead of greasy bacon. Baby, you're firing on all cylinders. But if the chart, if the current market condition is not conducive to trading, forget about all that other stuff. because you don't have a high probability move on tap. So that's why it's so important. Forget all the indicators and the oscillators and the algorithms and the this and the that and the whatnots, and just try to get it in your mind. If you're new at this, or if you've been at it a while and you're struggling, I must learn to be able to understand what the market is saying right now, or at any given point in time. What is the market telling me? Now, see, this isn't based on anyone's opinion. We don't get much news anymore these days, even though we have all this 24-hour news cycles with all the cable news. What we have is 24-hour round-the-clock opinions. Okay. The information that a chart. Okay, John. The information you get from a chart is nobody's opinion. Okay. It's just the facts. So I'll pick up right here where I left off. Let's continue talking with John. We're just looking at this gold chart here, John, because that's kind of where we were at, I think, talking metals. And Michael had asked a question, which I think you've already answered. But last night, our short was 15.53 down to 51, $200 per contract traded, and then important prices, important areas, so it gets back above the trigger by 4 ticks, and then comes down, does the trip again. So 2 back-to-back. Well, now we're headed north.
Yeah, you had this spike up over the weekend. Actually, if you could squeeze it up so we can see all of January, because that's sure. quite important.
What's going on? You want me to change the time frame? Would that be better?
Yeah, if you like. Yeah, you could put it on.
See more. Throw it up on a 4 hour.
4 hours is a good job. Yeah, that's.
Let's see what we got.
Yeah, while you're getting that going, Trump. The thing that Trump was going on about today earlier was that the World Trade Organization, he's starting to take them on. That's probably going to be a pretty big deal for the U.S. He's kind of going to get an even playing field going, because he sort of said, China and India are designated as emerging countries, and they get a lot of benefits for that. We're an emerging country, effectively, the U.S., and he says, why don't we get the same? So this guy's sort of he really is out to right all the wrongs that the U.S. has been suffering from for a long time. And now, obviously, you can see on this chart, we had this big spike up. And
you know what, John? So it wouldn't be so, well, you know what? And it's not going to show the zones. So let me just, guys, what you're seeing here is a full month of January, going back to January 2nd here. However, these zones that you see on the chart, those are this week's zones. And this week began on the 19th. Today's the 22nd. So right here, you can see that says Sunday night Globex open. So everything on the chart is correct. It's a 4 hour chart. I just want to make sure you understand that the zones you see to the left of this arrow are not this month's zones, are not this week's. So go ahead, John.
Okay. Looking at that chart, one could, I actually think that if we break down from here, below 54, 50, we could take another leg down, possibly quite a big leg. Down to about the same distance as from the highs. So we could see a pullback to 1500 or maybe 1475. I don't think you can rule that out. In the event that we go higher, that we sort of, especially if we rally into the end of the month, it would make it would tend to say that we're probably not going to go lower after all. So
all All right, here's an
And
easy
what
to
it- what-
see 4-hour
Yeah,
chart.
and one of the, in fact, the way we're going right now, look, if we suddenly, that's what I was saying just before we saw this chart,
Mhm.
is if we suddenly go to 1575 or 1580, we actually could just go straight through and on our way up to 1700, 1800, and so on, possibly as much as 2100, and it could be, a pretty incredible ride. So in fact, it could be a fast move, a pretty fast move. Remember, the higher the market goes, the stock market, ultimately it means the higher gold is going to go in the end. It's just the way, it eventually follows the market. We had think about this, between 1980, right, which is when gold previously peaked,
Mhm.
and from 1982, I should say, from 1982 through 2000, we basically had about a 7-fold up move in the market, right?
Correct.
And guess what? Right after that, we had a 7-fold up move in gold. So, we've subsequently had from 2009 or even 2011, we're almost triple, right? We're almost
Did you
triple up
say
in the market.
1980, John?
From 1982.
82. Okay, here's
No,
80.
not in gold. Well, what I'm saying is the stock market went up
Okay.
from 1982 to 2000. Is about a 7-fold move upwards.
Oh, okay, right.
Right. So that was followed by a 7-fold move up in gold.
Okay, for the same time frame, here's the S&P index.
Right.
And here's 1982.
Right.
82 right here.
Yeah.
A leg and a retracement. A leg,
It was actually more than 7-fold, but anyway, we got a 7-fold up move in gold. And we got an 11.5-fold up move in silver.
So let me ask you if I've got this right. Now, Michael and I, we tend to view the market, and primarily what we do, even though we trade overnight, it's still mostly intra-session, not intraday, but intra-session. And we do kind of hang our hat on the fact that the S&P and gold typically move in opposite directions. But if you back up and look at the bigger picture, so while they diverge and trade in different directions, in opposite directions, intra-session, when we look at a bigger picture, such as this, we can see that, in fact, I'm supporting your argument here that they can trade together.
Absolutely, they do. And, from 2005 to 2007, they were in sync, and gold doubled, and so did the market, had a pretty good run up. Look, on this show in 2009, right after the bottom was made on March the 9th, 2009, which we called on this show, I said, this is the beginning. Look, I said, the way I see the market, and you can see the crash of 87 there was almost, you can't even see it hardly. That's what the 1921 crash looks like as well.
1987.
Right there.
Yeah.
So we had a third wave. We basically, we really bottomed in 1975 on this market. We started, we had a series of 1-2, 1-2, 1-2s, 1-2s, all the way up to about 400 on the S&P, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we went into a third wave, or this actually, forgive me, it was the bottom of. So that was 87. We went up to a new high, and then January the 16th, 1991, is that secondary dip. Okay, right there,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the start of the third wave, and we went all the way up to 2,000 to 10,000 on the thing, and on the Dow, and 1,500 on this index here. Then we had an A wave down to 2003. Okay, we had a B wave up to 2007, 8, And the B wave on the Dow went to a higher high, which is very bullish. When a B wave goes to a new high, it tells you the next move is going to be a monster. And we had a classic C wave, which just destroyed the market down to 2009. But in the larger scheme of things, it was just a correction. And we said, we're going into, well, I misread it actually, a fifth wave, but this actually, it's more like a third wave, because this wave is so super powerful, and because of the advanced decline line and everything else, it's actually much more powerful than the so-called third wave in the 90s. And the key feature of this entire rally has been that the advanced decline has been moving up, has been leading the market for the entire time, and continues to lead the market today. And also, we're getting awfully close in fact, this dip in oil might help the transports get to a new all-time high here in the next few days. And if we do get to a new all-time high, we are going to get a Dow theory buy signal, and believe me, that's as good as it gets. It's one of the most powerful thing in the universe, frankly. So, and it does. Listen, it's not usually a kind of a spurt and a curve, and it's all over. Although it could happen, it's usually when you get a Dow theory buy signal, it usually pushes the market up for a number of months, even quarters. So we're definitely going into a kind of a parabolic uptrend here. And there's no end in sight, at least not yet. In fact, it could even be getting more powerful. And when you look at what he just pulled off this deal with China and Mexico. Mexico's the biggest deal because of the trade. The volume of trade is multiple times as big as China. Europe is going to be another mega deal, could drive the market up much, much higher for this year. And then you got the UK, and then you got this World Trade Organization, which he's taking on. And who knows what kind of benefits that might bring to the US down the road. So, and then he's talking about more, elimination of regulations. And the other thing that may happen before the year is out is when he takes the tariffs off. If we suddenly, he wants a world without tariffs. Remember that. Ultimately, that's his goal. He wants a free trade, free and fair trade around the world. That's a formula for mega growth. So, and then we got the 5G revolution driving the markets as well. There's an awful lot of things out there. By the way, you might want to Google this. Japan announces the smallest flying car. It really looks pretty cool. This thing. It looks like a contender.
Japan, smallest flying car. Sky Drive will be 9.5 feet long, 4.3 feet wide, and 3.6 feet high, which the manufacturers claim will make it the world's smallest flying car. So this came out less than 24 hours ago. Sky Drive was formed by a group of engineers from Toyota. The company began remote control test flights. Boy, these pop-ups and these,
it's a pain in the neck.
they've gotten so aggressive, and there
Go
are
down a bit if you can, because you have to see the that looks interesting.
well, it does. Not what we were looking for, but it's what they gave us. Here, let's go back and see if we can get what we wanted. SkyDrive was formed by a group of engineers from Toyota. The company began remote control test flights of its flying car in 2018. The first...
I think it's a losing battle trying to get rid of those ads on Daily Mail. So
The first test flights with an onboard human pilot began in December 2019. Full public demonstration could be coming as soon as this summer. Okay.
Go down
So
a bit more. That's a kind of a prototype. Go down a bit more.
Okay.
Okay, there it is. Look at that.
Okay, let's take a peek at this.
When storage isn't
That's really something. That really super cool looking thing.
See if we can get it to play. All right.
intelligent, it thinks, predicting and fixing problems faster, scaling ahead of demand, moving data easily between clouds. That's intelligence that changes everything.
I think it's the now. Almost. I mean, yeah, no, I agree, John. Now, is this, is everything we're seeing here simulated? All right. Make people more comfortable.
It's a little bit like the Aston. Remember the Aston Martin one looks pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Is that still progressing?
I would assume so. Yeah.
What powers it?
I think it's kind of similar to the lithium jet, or lilium jet.
Okay, now this article goes all the way back to August. Let's see what comes up under news. That's the one we're just at, Daily Mail. You could own one by 2023. That's tomorrow, practically. You could own one by 2023. From Harry Potter to the Jetsons, flying cars are a staple feature of many science fiction blockbusters. The futuristic vehicles are slowly but surely becoming a reality, and now the world's smallest flying car is taken to the skies for the first time. Tiny vehicle developed by Japanese startup SkyDrive are conducting test flights at an indoor facility just outside of Nagoya. We are clear that our product will improve the lives of consumers right across the world by providing efficiency of movement and creating happiness in flying, be it linking people to jobs, their family, or a dream holiday. 3.6 meters long. It could fit 2 people, including the pilot. Oh, look at that. Look at that thing. You can park that in your garage. While on the ground, the car can travel at a respectable 60 kilometers an hour, while in the sky it can fly at 100 kilometers an hour. It can fit 2 people, including the pilot. It can reach an altitude of 50 meters. Now, John, 50 meters, put that in perspective for us. How many, is that a 100-story building? give or take. I mean,
50 meters, that's not very high.
okay. That's what I was trying to figure out. I mean, are we getting up into commercial airspace here, or is this
No,
thing flying below
probably
it?
that's the idea of keeping it down, you know,
Okay.
keeping it out of, yeah.
Flying cars will be the travel mode of the future. Today we took a giant leap towards making that happen. Well, the flying car has only just completed its first manned flight. SkyDrive has ambitious timelines for the project. Oh. And price tag? I haven't seen any projections for what it's going to retail at.
No.
Interesting. Jet rental prices. That's just a come on thing. There's no actual data there. Okay, what else would you like to look at?
I think we kind of covered everything today.
See how beautifully priced since the Globex Open Sunday night on the S&P. Globex Open was this candle right there, that green candle. 6 p.m. Sunday night. We made a run at the zone, didn't quite get there, but we knew we had an obstacle in our path based off of Friday's price movement. So come back to the zone, consolidate. We attempt the zone below, can't quite get there. And we're back up, consolidation, and then I'm not sure what happened Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, but something sent the S&P in less than 30 minutes from 23 down to 16. Zones are pretty tight this week, pretty compressed. So we go from zone to zone, down to the zone, back up to the zone, more consolidation. Up to the zone, back down to the zone, down to the zone, up to the zone. This is really quite a tradable market. I mean, we haven't had any huge moves per se, but I mean, each one of these, zones from 24 up to 30, that's a respectable 6 points. From 31 to 37, there's another 6 points. 6 up, 6 down, 6 back up, 6 down, and then 6 down, and now here we are consolidating at this zone. The next high probability move
Yeah, by the way,
be the zone overhead. Yeah.
Dwayne, that chip I was telling you about earlier, the AMD, is called the EPIC, EPYC, AMD EPIC.
I accompanied my wife to, I'm going to pull that up, AMD EPIC. AMD.
Put in EPIC 7742.
7742. So as she was shopping, I just wandered back to the electronic section, as I do, just to browse around. And all of their computers that even the ones that are in like the little aisle, the gaming aisle, they look really fancy and sexy with the flashing lights and the see-through cases and whatnot. They're pushing i5 chips on people. A lot of them had i3. I only found 1 or 2 out of the whole, everything they had in the electronic, and this is a Walmart Supercenter. I only found 2 that had an i7 chip in them.
Yeah.
I was really surprised by that.
It
almost sounds like they
inventory.
got a backlog of i3s and
yeah.
i5s. They need to get cleared out of inventory.
Yeah.
So tell me about this EPIC.
It's check the price, $7,500 for that. That's 6428, 64 core 128 chip.
Now I understand the type of work that you do, type of work I do. I mean, you need this. I could benefit from this. The average user would never need something like this, right?
No, I don't think so. The group that I got to build my machine tells me it's the fastest machine they ever built, which is very flattering.
I bet they were very excited to be able to build it too.
Yeah, they for sure were. You know, they were being the kind of
Yeah, they were like kids in a candy store.
How well it's performing, but we've had our little teething problems with it. But because this thing is so delicate, you know, it's just even just shipping it was almost shipped in cotton wool to protect it. You know.
Oh, so
But,
why so delicate? I mean,
just because it's got a huge fan inside, and it's just the way it's seated and everything. It's a very, it's just a pretty big deal. And anyhow, they build, believe it or not, they build computers for NASA, for Los Alamos, Google, Intel, not AMD, Intel, the Defense Department. I mean, they got a client list to die for. I mean, it's just unbelievable who they make machines for. Just everybody, and so they really are the real deal. These guys, and they're not too keen on AMD. I might just add, they're Intel people, But
okay, what swayed you to go with the AMD instead of the Intel?
Well, I'm just looking at it. Only because I've got another system that could potentially use an AMD, and it's obviously it's cheaper and potentially faster. But I'm right now I'm covered for both of them. The second machine, because the older one is a little bit slow for this current requirement. But I'd probably go with another Intel, to be honest with you. I'm not sure if that is applicable or not.
How much RAM do you run on that machine?
It takes up to 128.
Wow.
And the other one does 64 right now.
Yeah,
This one does that chip we just looked at does 256.
Okay,
Right.
This one here, I know I've heard you say Threadripper before. I just Googled fastest chip available. Do you agree with what they're saying here, that this one?
For the
that's
price,
in August. That's 2018. That article.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. But that's the Threadripper. That's 3264, I think.
Check this out. Grog rolls out AI chip on the cloud. Now this is a current article. Chip on the cloud. Only the second startup to make AI accelerators silicon available in the cloud. Now available to accelerate.
The thing about the chip, Dwayne, these chips, I think the Intel architecture is still bigger than 1.0, maybe 1.3, something like that. Not 100% sure, but they're the thing about these chips, in tune with Moore's law, where chip
right,
chips,
every 48 months? No?
18 months.
18 months.
Double the performance. What they're doing is the chips are getting smaller. I believe AMD chips are now 0.7, which is amazing. It's like what used to, it's like a farmer. It's like what used to maybe take 200 acres, then went to 100, then 50, and so on and so on and so on. And it's down to less than an acre now, which is kind of like in the chip form is the same. Just go down. It says who's winning in the chips. That might be worth looking at.
Okay, let's see. This one?
Oh, I thought it was who's winning in the chip world is AI. Yeah. By the way, Qualcomm. I noticed that popped up in the last few days, which is a 5G stock.
Okay, tell me, you got a symbol?
Yeah, QCOM.
QCO. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's just about to make a new all-time high.
Yes, it does. Looks like we had an all-time high at, well, in this month. This month we put in a high at $100 right on the nose? It is.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. And this actually could become a very big performer. All the 5Gs I think are going to perform spectacularly. We've looked at Keys, KEYS. We haven't looked at that one for a while.
Now, I saw a commercial the other night. I'm trying to remember which company
T-Mobile.
it was for. It says that their 5G signal will go miles instead of blocks.
T-Mobile has the edge on everybody. If you're a farmer, if you're using, or you're out in the boondocks, or they're out in, the United States is tens of millions of acres, or square miles rather. Mm-hmm. To cover the whole United States is a monumental undertaking as far as cell coverage is concerned. And I believe that T-Mobile can do it with maybe a fifth or 10th or even a 30th of the number of towers, something really drastic. And that translates to, they're going to have a huge price advantage in the future because, what might be a good deal for one of the other carriers at $20 or $30, they can do for $5. The price variance is remarkable.
Now, as opposed to putting up the traditional tower, if I understand this correctly, what they're putting in are more like repeaters?
Well, the other thing is, look,
is that true?
The T-Mobile is a 600, I don't know whether it's megahertz or gigahertz, but it's 600 versus, they're much higher numbers, 30,000 maybe, or 3,000, maybe 30,000, I think. And there's a risk of the higher frequency being potentially damaging to humans. So
there's a lot of people up in arms about the potential.
Yeah. So if you look at T-Mobile, I think TMUS. I mean, look, Keys looks like it's ready to fly.
It does.
Higher.
Okay.
Look at T-Mobile. I mean, it's kind of telling you the story. It's
looks
just
very
about
similar
to make new all-time highs. I think you compare it with Verizon, VZ. It's outperforming.
Okay.
Verizon's doing okay, but
is that an all-time high?
It's getting close. Yeah, they're all doing well, I guess. But T-Mobile does look like it's got the edge a little bit on Verizon right now, and so they're really looking very, very. I mean, it looks very bullish, that chart actually. I think it's going to go to 100 very quick. And have a look at the Xilinx XLNX.
X what, John?
XLNX.
You need to get that.
Yeah, it's gradually. Yeah, I do. I might wrap it up.
Okay.
So listen, have a great
All
afternoon.
All right, John.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Catch
Thanks.
you tomorrow. Bye. Okay. All right. Let's go back to the S&P. Last night, Concierge Trade Alert for the S&P. If you didn't get a screenshot, one more chance. If you want it, it's yours. Remember, the numbers are good until the next set comes out. Okay. So on the S&P, last night, consider being long 33.27, and that happened right here. Okay. Now, I was in the process earlier of asking a question on gold, so let me finish that thought. And my question was simply, is there anything about the alert, what it means, what do you do with it? If you have those kinds of questions, put them in the chat box, okay? You might say, well, gee, I'm not a partner, I'm not a passport holder, I can't ask those kinds of questions. Well, maybe you can. Okay, if you got a question, ask. If, for some reason I can't tell you, I'll tell you I can't tell you, but I won't ignore you. I'll acknowledge the question to whatever degree I can. So, important prices, important areas, almost always tested. 1553, we go down to 1550. So it's actually a 3-point move, $300 per contract traded. The trade to target is 1551. On a short alert, the trade to target. Now, there'll be an initial, like on the logic, you'll have an initial target, and then you'll have the trade to target, which is the weekly trading zone above or below, depending upon if it's a long or a short alert. Here's how we view it. From Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern, round the clock. Price is on the move even when it's moving sideways. Okay? Price is always trying to go somewhere. Okay? What our weekly trading zones do, they provide a framework to give you a level of understanding as to where price is trying to go. What's the next logical spot that price wants to get to complete its objective? Okay? So when we take out 1553, well, we already know once we leave this zone, right, and we start building this big red candle, we already know that price is trying to get to the zone below. If price is always trying to get to a zone, and if price, after consolidating in this zone here, if it starts moving south, there's no way that the chart's trying to tell me that price is trying to get to 1563. Let me say it again. When price leaves this zone, headed south, I have to have faith in my definable edge that price is trying to get to 1551, not 1563. Because from this spot here, okay, when price leaves the station, so to speak, it's either trying to get here or it's trying to get here. Does it always get to its destination? Nope. Does it always get to its destination on the first pass or first move? Nope. Does it get to its destination more often than not? It does. Okay. So we saw a lot of consolidation here. Price makes a run, gets slapped right back down into the zone. And a move back down, move back down. So all up through here, are we to believe that price is trying to get to that zone overhead? Yes. Desperately. Okay? I mean, look at all the attempts, which turned out to be failed attempts. Okay? Now, let me add a little something. Which may or may not clarify things. We came down at a bearish cross from zone to zone. Beautiful move. $600 per contract, zone to zone, which led to a $500 zone to zone move. We're below the BBC. So we come down, we consolidate, come down to the zone. Now, here is where This is where you learn how to trade. Okay? Price pulls back up. When price pulls up to a BBC from below, we expect it to be good resistance until it isn't. Now, on this candle, this candle, and this candle, it could very well look like, price or the market has made its decision, and it is in fact headed to the zone overhead. And if you misread this, if you got long and price went nowhere, just based on the structure of this, you shouldn't have got hurt. You shouldn't have gotten hurt. Okay. But look at what we're dealing with. We pull up to it. We expect it to be good resistance. This candle's touching. Here we finally get one candle that's not actually touching. I mean, it opened above the BBC, closed above the BBC. Okay. So if you took that as a signal, all right, we're done with this, we're moving on up. That's the truth about trading. The market won't always do what your best analysis tells you that it's trying to do. What you see as the next high probability move will not always manifest. And here's the rub, bub. That's where so many traders go, oh, well, I just wasted another X number of dollars, or XX comma X comma dollars. There is nothing on planet Earth or the galaxies beyond that we're aware of that will allow you to know with certainty what is going to happen next on every trade. You can spend good money, you can spend more good money, you can chant, you can do whatever. You're looking for something that doesn't exist. I'm not going to go into long-blown, I'm just not today. Trust me, if you want to hear that side of the story, go listen to any of the recaps going back years at youtube.com/CFRN. Every radio show that we do, every recap of every alert, it's all there. Okay. Everything we do is public information. We issue alerts to our members. Once that move is over, we either find our price target or we get stopped out. We recap it both in our Telegram channels and here on the radio show. Okay? So there's no shell game going on. You know? It's just public info. All right. So if you're wasting time and energy trying to figure out how to not get sucker punched by that, please give it up. Please give it up. The only solution to that is to look at the chart and go, oh, I got stopped out. Next, don't go back to the drawing board. Don't start from scratch. Now, if you're using some kind of methodology or strategy that doesn't provide you with a positive result more often than not, well, first make sure you're using the strategy or methodology as it was intended to be used. And then after a ample sample, you may need to go find something that really does have a definable edge. Because maybe whatever it is you're using, it really doesn't give you a definable edge. Okay? So don't let that cripple your career as a trader in your journey to become a consistently profitable trader. Don't let that take you out of the game. Okay? Don't spend years and thousands attempting to find what's not there. Because trust me, as long as you're willing to spend the money, there's some guy out there grinding out some stuff. One guy's at his desk grinding out stuff, and the other guy, his partner's at his desk grinding out ad copy to get you to buy the stuff. And you know what? It's probably going to work to some degree for some period of time. Everything works some of the time. Of course, nothing works all the time, except the market. As long as you feed the beast will keep eating your lunch. Okay? You have to make a decision. Oh man, I'm done. I'm not feeding the beast anymore. I'm going to find a definable edge. I'm going to dig in my heels. I'm going to learn that edge inside and out. And I'm going to accept that getting stopped out is just a part of trading. Part of building an automobile is installing the seats, putting tires on it, putting some kind of engine in it. Oh man, I got to put another engine in this car. Oh, this whole car thing is just not going to fly. See what I did? You follow me? Okay. It's part of the business. As surely as I'm standing here, and I am, getting stopped out is part of the business. So you can get all hung up on this, right? But you can flow with this. $200, $200. All right, that was gold. S&P, consider being long, 33.27. And that triggered last night at 2100 hours. The alert went out at 1945 hours. So I can just grab this and just bring it all the way across, because important prices and important areas are almost always tested. And so just like a weekly trading zone, once it's issued, it's carved in stone. It's good for the entire week. We don't massage it, manipulate it, change it in any way, shape, fashion, or form. So from 32.27, we ripped through that zone overhead like it's not even there. Could you have just taken an exit at 33.30, had a nice 3-point trade, and gone on about your business? Absolutely. And still look yourself in the mirror in the morning. Absolutely. Or you can wait for an exit signal. An exit signal is the chart telling you that the current move is possibly running out of steam. Just like on the one I showed, I went into detail on one of these yesterday. If you missed yesterday's show, you can always go watch it. 32.27. It got to a swing high of 36.5. So that's 2 ticks. 2 ticks away from actually physically touching the zone. But then price starts to walk sideways. This line's called the step line. On a long trade, when the step line crosses blue and climbing, Now all you're doing is you're waiting for the first red candle to close below that step line. This candle closed at 33.34 half. 33.34 half. Exit signal. Now, because these are time-based candles, everybody got the exact same exit signal. On everybody who's running a 30-minute chart, the candle that began at 2 a.m. Eastern and ended at 2:30 a.m. Eastern, it's an hour ahead of the London Open. Everybody has that same closing price. And so 34 minus 27, was that 7 points? No, it's more than that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's right. I was looking at the zone up here at 37. See, from 27 to 37, that's 10 points. But getting out at swing highs or swing lows is very difficult because we don't know it's swing high or swing low till after the fact. So if you're waiting for your exit signal, price starts to walk sideways, step line crosses over. So you're patient, then you're patient, patient, patient. There's the exit signal. That candle closed at 33.34.50, giving you a 7-point trade from the published entry to the chart's exit signal. Okay, that's a fine day's work in the market. Now, when price can't go any higher, now you should look at each one of these candles as an attempt to go higher. Okay, this was a green candle at one point where you see these wicks that was once upon a time green. So it tried to go higher. It tried to take out that swing high right there. Couldn't do it. 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 Now, when price can't go any higher, it will walk sideways for a bit, consolidate, coil, whatever label you give it. Eventually, though, it's going to turn around and look for support. When price drops to the BBC from above, we expect it to be good support until it isn't. When price drops to a weekly trading zone, we expect it to be good support until it isn't. The only drawback here, and this still provided a very nice profit, okay? But yet you want to understand that as you're getting long here, pull back, it holds, off we go. This red and falling represents the potential for good resistance. And it was. Sent it back to the BBC, sent it back to the weekly trading zone, and then it gave another shot. This time it ran up to 33.35. And when it couldn't get any higher, now take a look here. See the sideways walk? You see how this is an area? So as price comes into this area, it gets sent back down to support. Support holds, sends it back up. This time we get through this area and we find resistance at the zone. Now today's Wednesday. Keep in mind that these weekly trading zones were computed Sunday night available to our traders first thing Monday morning in the private Telegram channel or via email. So our traders knew Monday morning that if price made it to 33.37 or got close, they should anticipate resistance. Would that kind of information be valuable to you? If you're not already a partner, if you're not already a passport holder, you should ask yourself that question. And if the answer is yeah, I guess that would be. But, I mean, everything works some of the time. Nothing works all the time, right? Go watch a few hundred recaps on YouTube. Well, you don't have to watch a few hundred, but watch a few. You don't have to listen to the whole 2-3 hour show. Just scoot up to the point where you see Michael and I doing the recap. Been doing it the same way every day for years. Over and over and over and over and over. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Leave it alone. I've seen too many traders with great potential. They actually had a definable edge, but they weren't satisfied because they didn't have anybody to tell them that they were attempting to find something that just doesn't exist, can't exist because of physics and God's laws. They didn't have anybody to tell them that. So what happens is when you try to put an edge on an edge is you pretty soon end up with no edge at all. You're just as confused as the other 9 out of 10 walking around in the room. Okay. Price is going to flow like this every day. Did it yesterday, did it last week, last month, last year, it'll do it tomorrow. The only thing that does work all the time is the market. And when you can learn to have faith in that fact that the market's going to work every day. Now, some days are going to be wide-ranging days. Some days will be narrow range. Some days will be sideways consolidation. You know what I'm saying. But it's going to show up. It's going to work. And when you have some kind of a tool, some kind of a strategy and a methodology, it allows you to just simply do what the market's doing while the market's doing it. What else is there to think about? So, okay, so what's the next high probability move here? Well, put in a leg, got back below the trigger, 32.27, sent us up to the zone overhead and the BBC where we expect to find good resistance, and we did. Okay. Now, one of two things is going to happen. Price is going to punch through this zone with its sights set on the zone overhead. Or it's going to fail right here at the BBC. It's going to send it back below the trigger. And if it goes back below the trigger and doesn't pretty quickly reverse, then it's headed to the zone here. That's what price does. That's what it's been doing all week, all year. It goes from zone to 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 zone. But these are 30-minute candles. So when you want to just jump in and make a couple fast bucks, that kind of throws a kink in the works, doesn't it? Patience and discipline. Two of the most important tools in your trader toolbox, and I can't sell you either one of them. Can't loan them to you. Can't even let you lease them. You got to reach deep down inside of yourself. You got to find them. And you got to employ them. Okay? Now see, over here, when we triggered, we had one obstacle. We had two. We had this swing high, which is basically this zone, so it's really kind of the same thing. But we ripped right through it. Okay. Now, as we come back below the trigger and start to move higher again, we have the BBC right overhead. that represents resistance. Now we had the zone overhead here, but we got through it. Question is, this time, it's a double whammy. Can we get through the zone and the BBC? I don't know. But I know how to wait. I know how to let the chart tell me, okay? Consider see, as long as price is tied up in here, at this moment in time, there's no high probability move. Now, if there wasn't a trigger here, important price, important area saying consider being long, then I would have a high probability move. Boom, right down to the zone below. That may be very well what turns out. But I have to recognize that this is now, is there enough room to 32.28 to 27? No, there's not enough room to run. Okay. So in this example, I would consider 33.33 to 33.35. If that's the direction the market chooses to go. Doesn't matter what I think. Doesn't matter if I don't think the market can go any higher. It's exhausted. It's, there's too much trend and the tricks, and my advanced decline has overwhelmed my Bollinger Bands. Follow me? Okay. Now, if price fails to get above this zone and the BBC, and it actually gets below this trigger, okay, this candle didn't make it all the way to the zone. This candle didn't make it all the way to the zone. If price trades 32.26, which is right there, I got 2 points room to run before I know I'm coming up on potentially good support. Is that a high probability trade opportunity? No. It's not. Understanding the difference between this and this is the difference between you potentially becoming the 1 out of 10 versus the 9 out of 10. Because we know what happens to 9 out of 10. Good people, work hard, love Jesus, stay up late, study, but they're always one click away from greatness. Doesn't seem fair, does it? Well, life's a wonderful thing, but I've not found it to be fair in most things. So, now, in life, Jesus is my definable edge. In trading, I just showed you my definable edge. My definable edge in life doesn't change from day to day. Well, I tried Jesus yesterday. I believe I'm going to try me a little Buddha today. Maybe I can knock it out of the park. Maybe get me some Allah up in here. No, it doesn't work that way. Well, yesterday I used the Ichimoku cloud, and I'm not knocking the cloud. I don't know anything about it. I'm sure it does exactly whatever it was created to do. The question is do you have enough discipline to use it in the manner that it was created to be used? There's the rub, bub. Well, I tried them Bollinger Bands yesterday, but I've heard about these Fibonacci bands. I'm going to try that today. Okay? Man, just pick something and stick with it. Because everything works some of the time, nothing works all of the time. So find something that has a definable edge. Find something that has a definable edge. Make sure, you got to do a large enough sample size to make sure it has a definable edge, or you got to have, someone that you trust who's been using this definable edge for a very long period of time, and they give you the nod. Yeah, dude. There's a definite edge here. No doubt about it. It doesn't make it easy, but sure can make it simple. Find an edge, stick with it. That's all. You want our edge? You want our live training room every day? You want these concierge trade alerts that I show you every day? You want these Logic 247 alerts I show you every day with entries and targets? You want access to unlimited one-on-one mentoring? Do you want to have a community where you can hang out and find people to talk to about trading, people who speak your language? At Thanksgiving this year, if you try to talk to anybody at the table about trading, they probably looked at you like you're nuts. And now they're worried you're going to lose your house. Yeah, that's just the way it is, right? There's a lot of value in having a group of people that speak, that have common goals, common beliefs, and you're trying to learn something, and instead of one of these, bitter, hate, vile-filled rooms where everybody's slamming everybody because nobody can make anything work because they won't stick at it long enough. Imagine being in an environment where there's support, not just from the developers, but from the other traders, people that are actually doing it in the trenches, just like you, day in, day out. So you can go a long way around a mountain, or we've carved out a path that you can follow. It's going to cost you $5,000. It's a true story. $4,997. That's a one-time money. Okay? One time. That includes the Concierge Trade Alerts, the Logic 247 alerts, the Thursday night workshops, the live training room, every trading day for 2 hours, Monday through Friday, unlimited one-on-one mentoring, lifetime use of the indicators, and a group of people that you would not be ashamed to introduce to your mom. Hey Mom, these are the people I work with. They're good people. They really are. God's blessed us. Michael and I, Valerie and Bert, he just keeps surrounding us with more and more good people, and we're all very thankful for that. So there you have it. There's your invitation. There's a sales pitch. There's the price tag. Call Valerie 949-42-EMINI. She'll run that card. Boom. You're in like Flynn. She'll help you get all your indicators set up. She'll help you figure your way out around Telegram and how to connect with the group and where to ask questions and all of that stuff. Okay? And then you could be in the live training room tomorrow morning. Also, shout out to our friends over at PayPal, because we've been doing business with PayPal for a very, very long time. They know our track record. They know our customer service record. They know that we take care of our people. So if you want to become a passport holder, if you want all the stuff I just talked about, PayPal will let you become a passport holder today. you won't have to make a payment or pay any interest for 6 months. Now, we love you too, but we don't float your note. That's between you and PayPal. But PayPal is willing to do that for our customers, for our clients, because they see how we do business. Okay? We take care of business. All right? So if you're interested, you need somebody to walk you through it from the getting signed up to the whole, Valerie, get a hold of her, support at CFRN.net, or call 949-42-EMINI. Yesterday, we talked about standing on the Word of God. That was part 1. Part 2, Psalm 119:50. Your promise revives me. It comforts me in all my troubles. When you are in pain, sometimes God lifts you out of your situation. Other times, He carries you through and makes you stronger by proving His love and faithfulness to you. Sometimes He relieves you of the pain. Other times He sustains you in the midst of it. So friend, if you're in pain today, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial, I want you to write these promises on the tablet of your heart. Your promise revives me. It comforts me in all my troubles. Let your unfailing love comfort me, just as you promised me, your servant. Surround me with your tender mercies, so I may live. Turn to me and have mercy, for I am alone and in deep distress. My problems go from bad to worse. God, save me from them all. Please feel my pain and see my trouble. That's Psalm 25:16. Psalm 34:17. The Lord hears His people when they call to Him for help. He rescues them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. The righteous person faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue every time. For the Lord protects the bones of the righteous. Not one of them is broken. Jeremiah 17:14. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved. For you are my praise. Now notice that God's promises revive and comfort us in all of our troubles. Physical, spiritual, financial, relationships. Your Bible is a prescription from the great physician himself. And the label on the bottle reads, take as often as needed for pain. That's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.